Bah.
Ba. Ba 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 ba.
Acting like we weren't having a whole conversation right before.
Yeah. Honestly, like that is the thing. You turn on that mic and suddenly you're like, what the fuck do I even start by saying?
What are words? Funny enough, I was gonna start stream today with the ever so classic Wizard of Oz song "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead," and then I realized I really don't want to deal with that.
Copyright.
Because it's probably not copyrighted.
It's gonna be sometime still until then, unfortunately.
Yeah, someone's probably used it in a remix or something.
So, football.
So, football.
Yes.
It sure is a thing.
How are you feeling about football, my good sir?
I'm a 49ers fan. All I know is pain.
Fair enough. Have a good day.
That is just a constant state. Even when we're good, there is pain.
You cannot escape the pain.
I cannot.
It is the consistent state of, yeah.
By the way, enjoy this Pokemon music in the back while we do this. I'm gonna need as much therapeutic help as I can get, and this will cure me, hopefully. So, we sure said some things last time we were on here.
Yeah.
Some of which have remained true, and
some of which as dumb as put the Saints in Super Bowl favorites.
No, that was 2 times ago, and we rectified that error. No, and then there's Cardinals in F tier.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I did. Yeah, anyway, moving on. From that crippling realization. We have some footy to talk about.
I at the very least have my picks from last week up on screen still. So,
I have saved mine, but I don't feel like wrangling OBS into working with my whims.
You know what? Fair enough. Yeah.
So just know, I'll probably tell you when one of my picks was dumb. Don't worry, I'll tell you.
Hugs the South.
I know. Now for the rules of the game we kind of do each time. 4 teams get to go into S tier. We consider that are probably going to vie for the Super Bowl teams. 2 from the AFC, 2 from the NFC. Same thing with relegation. Only 4 teams can go. More deserve it. I honestly had to wrangle with whomst is going in that tier. But yeah.
Yeah.
I usually do a silly joke of relegate to the USXFL. However, I said it before that and forgot to do the stupid joke. Because it was easier.
That's fair. Don't worry, I still got it out for us.
I see Luce's making a new tier on her stream.
Oh, yeah, I'm just putting all the teams down here, so
okay, so that way you don't have to reset and redo it all.
Yeah.
See, that's a smart way to do it. That's not what I did.
Now that's thinking with tier lists, not portals. Damn.
Thank you for throwing things at me, Lilith. I appreciate it. It lets me feel something that might... And thank you also for drowning me.
Damn, I didn't realize you were that that much of a state after the Seahawks game.
Geno Smith is still running touchdowns in my nightmares. We'll get to that.
We'll get
Hopefully
to all of it.
soon. But yeah, 4 teams get to go into S tier, 4 teams get to go into relegation tier. Everyone else gets to fill out the rest of this chart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you now, there's a lot of teams in F that deserve relegation. I know it has been quite a while. I hope to get into this a little more regularly. Welcome, Darkfire. Glad to have you here.
I mean, there's like, how many teams in with like a 3-7 record or something like that right now?
There are 2 in your own division.
Yeah, it's wonderful having a horrible division, isn't it?
It's wonderful not having anyone breathing down your back.
It is the thing.
Good to see you as well, Darkfire.
It is just the eternal fate of the AFC East to only have one good team up top, and then everything else is shit. Like maybe one team gets like a year of being decent, but yeah.
Yeah, everyone else gets suffering.
Yep.
Agony even. Or concussions.
Pain. Torture.
Agony? Question mark.
The 12 pits of hell.
Yep. All right. And the funny thing I have already noticed, Lusa, you get to talk about Buffalo.
Yay! The bad man is gone. Oh wait, that's technically later, but the bad man is gone. I
know far too much about this sport, and it's
okay.
a blessing and a curse.
Okay, so obviously, if you listen to any sort of talking heads or sports YouTubers or anything like that, even Buffalo fans, every single one of them has said that the win against Kansas City doesn't matter.
Of course not.
However,
That goes against their narratives.
However, Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
That was probably the most resounding win over the Chiefs that I've seen from this team.
Yeah. Truly.
Like, holy shit! I don't need to say anything about that Josh Allen run on 4th and 2. It's already been mentioned to death. It's good, and honestly, like I'm still just shocked that this team is good this year, because I went in expecting them to be mid at the very least. Because their wide receiver room had a tumbleweed going through it every 2 seconds. But
it was weird. It was more consistent than the trains.
yeah. But nope. Khalil Shakir is good. Amari Cooper has been great, even if he hasn't needed to really catch too many. Dawson Knox is like the one person from the old Buffalo teams of like 2020 to 2023, and he's still amazing. Keon Coleman is currently he was out for like the last game, I believe, but this team gives me hope. We got rid of a whole bunch of pieces on our defense, and this team's still good. It's been good since like that weird like October slump.
Yep.
I feel confident in saying Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, honestly, from what I've seen of them, I had very low expectations of the Bills, saying you kind of need a receiving core in the modern NFL to do anything. I did not have faith in their receivers. I did not have faith that they would pick up anyone, because they were really waiting a long time to pick up anyone in free agency. Amari Cooper was a very late addition to the team.
They gave the Chiefs the fastest player in the draft, and he contributed by catching a pass out of bounds.
which was the funniest moment because he really tried to argue that
Yeah.
when it was blatant as could be.
Something vindication.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am happy. The Bills have basically secured the AFC East, even though they technically haven't. I would not be surprised if they're like one of, if not the first team to secure a Super Bowl, or not a playoff position.
They're going to be one of the first looking at the rest of the division.
Yeah.
They are 9-2.
Yep.
We'll discuss the rest of the three in a bit here, but
And the only I have checked their schedule consistently. The only tough game they still have on their schedule is the Lions game.
that's everyone's nightmare at the moment.
Yeah. Imagine saying that some years ago.
Oh God, 2016.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can see a world where they're like only one more loss, maybe two more losses if they decide to rest their starters week 18. But other than that, yeah.
And even then, I don't think it would possibly block where they're gonna place. If they're not like number 2 in the AFC, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, it's 2 or 1, unless like, I don't know, Steelers.
Yeah, that's the only question
yeah.
mark
But
of where they're gonna end up.
we shall see.
We shall see.
Either way,
Yeah.
but
I
pull
threw
all the
them
way
next
this time.
Don't kick it wide. Don't kick it wide. Don't kick it wide.
No. Only good vibes. I'm talking about the Bills. We save the bad vibes for later.
We save the bad vibes for when anything happens. But no, Lusa has been on an absolute high all week.
I was jumping up and down on my bed like a 2-year-old.
I was watching Red Zone, and of course they cut it off like midway through the fourth. So I immediately switched over to my phone while we were running some errands. And I'm just like, they're going to do it.
I remember like
The madmen are going to do it.
literally like 2 or 3 seconds before I started just typing to you, the bad man is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You just put like, I don't remember what meme it was, but it was just frustration about, you know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we'll get to that, and I'll mention what meme it is then.
Mm-hmm.
So try and stick around and remember for when we get to my team and why I have adopted the doomer mindset
Yeah.
when it comes to them. I haven't actually. I know how we get out of this, but it's funny. It's a good bit.
Believe in the power of CMC.
It only gets you so far. Miami.
Miami is technically still alive? Question mark?
They are 4-6. The fact that they are still alive is really downplaying the Bills.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not getting the division. They lost both games against the Bills, but I don't know, they're somehow still, like, for the second time in like 3 years, they're clinging to the idea of they can still push for a playoff spot.
No. Tua Tagovailoa is not that guy.
Yeah.
He has never been a reliable quarterback come playoff time or playoff push. They usually get there, but it's usually with Skyler as the quarterback.
Because Tua gets hurt all the time.
Or the other one.
Who's the other one?
No one remembers. It is the Salad Man. Hello, Gore. Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa scares me every week he goes out. The fact that they can't win even with their roster not really that fucked up, as far as I'm aware. Like, they have injuries, of course. Every team has injuries at this point in the season. But they're not to their overly significant contributors. It's not Tyreek Hill. It's not Raheem Mostert.
It's not Odell Beckham Jr., who we learned, like, literally on Sunday was on the Dolphins.
Yeah, that happened. Lusa usually on her server streams football.
Yeah.
In more specifically Red Zone, so I'll hop in and like just chat for as long as I can before I have to do chores. And us both realizing that Odell Beckham Jr. was a Dolphin and has technically been all season was a wild revelation to both of us.
What do you mean this man's on the team? And, like, the thing is, like, he's been playing since, like, what, mid-October?
October.
Yeah.
He's been playing since mid-October, and we haven't realized.
Which is, that says everything that it needs
That
to.
is a damning testament to the Dolphins that he has been playing since mid-October, and none of us have realized.
All hope is lost for the Dolphins.
Yep, I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
D tier just because they're technically still in a race, but all hope is lost for that team.
Yeah.
If you think you're getting a serious playoff push out of them, forget it. You're just not getting a number one pick out of it.
They'll hold on to that belief that they can do something, but
I'm not scared anymore. Did you hear that? I'm not scared anymore. Tua Tagovailoa runs into a man's knee. Ah! Head first.
Having, like, literally just earlier that season run into a man's chest head first and gotten a concussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all that needs to be said about Tua.
Lusa.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked at your title.
What?
There's a typo.
Oh wait, is there an E?
There's no E. The E is missing.
One sec. Look, just because I'm a writer doesn't mean I can spell.
No, I understand it completely. There are so many times where I'm just struggling with a word and then just pick an adjective, I consult the thesaurus to figure out what the other word is for it because it's either that or speaking into my speech to text, which is even more embarrassing.
You see, the thing is, you say that, I know in my attempt to find a thesaurus, I'd brutally butcher the word thesaurus in, like, Google or something like that.
Yeah.
It felt like treasure, and then saurus, right? Treasure
No.
source.
No, it's not something that was probably in a Yo Gabba Gabba episode.
God, I forgot that existed. That holy shit.
Congratulations. They're performing at Coachella, oddly enough.
What?
I had about the same reaction.
I am. Oh boy, I can't wait to hear "Don't Bite Your Friends" performed live.
Imagine they get Gerard Way again. That'd be hysterical if
It
just
would.
everyone headlining that night just decides to join them in the most meta bit that has ever happened. Okay, moving on because we've moved far past football, but
Yeah.
I frankly, talking about the Dolphins causes me physical and mental pain.
Well, don't worry, cause wait, is it the Patriots or the Jets that are next?
It's the Jets next, who are a whopping 3-8.
Yippee! Boy, you got rid of your general manager. That's good for you. Who are you gonna replace? Oh wait, you mean you haven't fired your general manager? It's just been Rodgers the entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll hope it's low.
F. Fat F tier.
I want to put them in relegation, but I think there are worse.
Badly.
There are worse teams in the AFC.
There are much worse teams in the AFC. And not even just going off of record alone, which, yes, there are multiple who are worse. But just... I can't in good conscience put them in relegation simply because there are teams that are absolute garbage that deserve to go there.
Somehow this team won a game against the Texans.
And I can only attribute it to CJ Stroud had an off day. I can't attribute it to any of Rodgers' skills that he clearly has shown in his career because man won a Super Bowl and we can't take that away from him. Even though he had one of the greatest defenses that we've seen on turf, and frankly, most of the players on that completely outshadowed him. But I'm going to completely move on because that's getting into a whole rant of that Super Bowl team.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about that Super Bowl, so...
Yeah. It was one of the first ones I watched. So it's vividly etched into my brain.
I think, like, the first one I remember is either, like, Patriots Seahawks or Panthers Broncos.
It's either that one or it's Steelers Cardinals.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You just unlocked the core memory. Yep, I remember that.
I really thought that Cardinals team could do something.
Didn't we all?
Turns out, nope, Ben Roethlisberger just needed his ring. All right. Can you show...
I think the fact that we started talking about Super Bowl shows just how little the Jets have done.
I know. And the worst part is it's just going to keep going downhill from here. Drake May is the quarterback of the future.
Indeed he is. Now imagine
he's
if they
still going in F tier.
Imagine if they had a team around him.
Imagine they had an offensive line, a couple receivers, a couple running backs, maybe a tight end.
Perhaps some
who can block and or
sideline.
catch. Imagine if he had a defense. Imagine if his special teams didn't have to put forth most of the work. Do I need to go on?
Not really. It's one of those things where, like, I'm only happy that Drake May doesn't have a team around him, because otherwise I'd actually be concerned.
Correct.
Yeah.
However, if this is what happens when Bill Belichick is not in the building, that is a damning indictment of modern Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Which, like, to be fair, we all saw... Bill Belichick's last few years could basically be summed up with that one game against the Raiders, where one of his players threw the ball backwards into a Raiders' hand, and then they walked into the end zone for a touchdown.
Not only that, but expecting if anything wrong were to happen, that the person who was going to be the main, primary, and only blocker was Mac Jones, the quarterback.
And didn't he get, like, bulldozed a la
He got
Ezekiel
demolished. He got immediately thrown to the ground on the way to the touchdown.
I almost feel sorry for Mac Jones.
I don't.
I
feel sorry that the Patriots wasted his time.
Yeah.
That is the only thing I truly do feel sorry for.
Well, no, it's more so him having to deal with Bill O'Brien and Matt Patricia as his offensive and defensive coordinator.
Yeah, there's that.
Are they... Where are they? Are they even on the Patriots still?
I'm not sure. I know where one cancerous part of an organization went, and it shows. But we'll get to that later.
Lots of we'll get to that later. And that guy that shows, like, the AFC East is the AFC East. The division is about as cut and dry as it possibly could be.
Yeah, there's literally, I think Lusa mentioned it before we went live, but there is one good team in the AFC East, and then the other three.
It was like this when the Patriots were in charge. It's been like it since the Bills became in charge. Yeah.
It was even like this back in the old days when the Dolphins were in charge. If you don't remember it, don't worry, none of us do. Ask any parent who's a Floridian or person who's a Floridian who retires there.
I wasn't alive then.
Nope, I wasn't even a thought when Dan Marino played football. My mother was in middle school.
Jesus. That's a... Parents can be that young?
No.
Wait.
Oh, wait, was it middle or elementary? No, it could have been going into middle. Like 6th grade, maybe.
That thought process of, wait, there was a point in time where my parents were also in high school? What the fuck?
Yeah, I hear stories from my mom and I'm like, the fuck you what? What the fuck do you mean you were on a state championship volleyball team? You complain when you have to get onto the part of the couch that's sunken in a little bit. Now I understand. As I round the sun closer and closer to 30.
Hug.
Yeah. Alright.
We should probably move on.
We should. What the fuck are the Steelers doing?
Winning football game.
Yeah, with Russell Wilson, of all players.
And a kicker. Like, it's just Russell Wilson, TJ Watt, and a kicker. And yet...
Pretty much.
That seems to be all they need.
Yeah, that's enough. Their receiving room is really not that deep. Like, there isn't a player where you look at them particularly and go like, oh, yeah, that's probably why they're getting the success era. But they're doing enough to go forward.
I still feel confident in my pick of them being a Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, honestly.
And no, that's not just because the only other team I can think in the AFC right now, I don't even want to think of putting them there after what I saw these last couple of weeks. But either way, Steelers go Super Bowl?
Steelers maybe go Super Bowl. Off the back of the recently divorced from the Broncos, Russell Wilson, and the recently divorced from the Bears, Caleb Williams.
You mean Justin Fields?
I did. I totally 100% did. Hi, and welcome to Sal Can't Remember Names to Save Their Fucking Life.
Don't worry, give it like a year or two. Caleb Williams will be on, like, I don't know, the Eagles or something.
Caleb Williams, congratulations, you've become a Bronco.
Oh no. I mean, to be fair, the Broncos would...
At least we're not the Commanders.
You can't even say that about the Broncos and Commanders, though, anymore.
I'm well aware. That used to be the running joke we had of the Commanders being the retirement home. And now they're good. Where are all these ancient paragons of football gonna go? The Jets.
You know what? I'm not sure it's good, though. The Ravens. What are the Ravens? Are they a bird?
Nevermore. You just quote them nevermore.
Ah, I see. The Ravens are... They're a playoff team. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they're gonna make it.
Yeah.
The weirdest part to me is people are talking about, like, oh, Lamar Jackson's on his MVP campaign. Derrick Henry's going on his OPOY campaign. And I'm like, are you fucking watching the same football I'm watching?
You ever notice how whenever they actually should be using Derrick Henry, they decide to not and lose a game?
Yeah.
No, I'm not specifically talking about that 2-point conversion
And
against
frankly,
the Steelers.
even if we're talking running back, Saquon Barkley runs miles around him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Literally and figuratively.
Legitimately, the one game that I've seen that's like, Jesus Christ, King Henry is good is the Buffalo game, and that's just because King Henry owns Buffalo.
Yeah, and has for a long time.
Yep. You try and tackle anyone from Buffalo tries to tackle him, and he'll just stiff arm you into the ground like Jordan Poyer, I think it was.
Yeah, Jordan Poyer.
Yeah.
Sit down, young fella, says Derrick Henry.
Sit down. Let me tell you a story.
Baltimore is 7-4, but I haven't seen any more team this inconsistent in their ability. Even some of their wins are super questionable. And some of their losses are like, come on, you really gave that up to them?
They lost to the Browns, right?
They lost to the Browns.
Yeah.
Which almost no one has.
At least look on the bright side, Ravens. At least it wasn't Deshaun.
Yeah, true, but still.
Yeah.
That's obviously no excuse.
Yeah.
But it's watching this team play is the ultimate, like, hearing people hype up Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and other members of the team, where when you're watching, you're just watching them make rookie error after rookie error after rookie error. And ill-informed decision, ill-informed ball placement. It's just a cluster.
The Ravens have only won one time against the Steelers since since Lamar or Jackson has become the starting quarterback.
Correct. And this was even when the Steelers were terrible.
Yeah. When they had old barely mobile Ben Roethlisberger still under center.
Mm-hmm. When they had, considering the retirement home, Ben Roethlisberger.
This team will make the playoffs, but they're not doing anything beyond that.
They're going to get knocked out at wild card. Everyone's going to be so shocked, and then they're going to do the same thing next year.
Yep.
They're the Cowboys of the AFC.
And because freaking reasons, for some reason, Lamar Jackson is going to get MVP and not Josh Allen.
Yep.
Actually, you know what? Considering MVP curse, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. That's fine with me as well, but it's watching the talking heads and just going, what do you see that I don't? Because what I see is completely different.
Oh, it's simple. The Ravens are a big market team and the Bills aren't.
True. There is a little difference between Buffalo and Baltimore. And that's population.
That's the only... That's like...
Yep.
Yeah. Congratulations, Baltimore. You get a semi-high placement simply because you're going to the playoffs. Don't get used to it.
Yeah, no. If you get a win, congratulations in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That is all you can expect. To someone who is not going to be seeing that, Cincinnati.
How do you have as good of an offense as Cincinnati and yet lose every single game?
Joe Burrow is not the reason. I have finally decided to do the thing that I always dread doing, which is deep diving stats.
Oh boy.
It's not Burrow's fault.
It's not
similar to another team.
It's not Burrow's fart.
Fart. Yeah, the Bengals are his fart.
Yeah. It's not Joe Burrow's fault. It's not Jamar Chase's fault. It's like the Vikings of last year again.
Yeah. It's like I am literally running and playing my ass off, and we still cannot win. And it's not like in an easy way either of like you can point a finger and go, oh, that's the reason. Oh, this is totally what's causing it. It's like, no, they're playing to the best of their ability.
And the thing is, like...
And they were good players in the past.
Yeah. Their defense is just... It's horrible right now.
It is full paper bag era in their defense, which sounds familiar.
Yeah. Gee, Ravens, I'm sure... I wonder, are you the same?
Yeah.
The
No, I think most of the AFC North is just cursed.
Yeah.
The Bengals got one Super Bowl run and lost it to the Rams, and therefore they're just eternally cursed to be the exact same year in, year out.
Are they mid or is hope lost?
I personally put them in D tier. I think hope is pretty lost for the Bengals at this point, because what do you improve? What do you push forward to get to a higher position than you are now?
Yeah. That's fair.
What more can you ask and what more can you receive? Is really the question you have to have this late into the season. And the answer is not much and can't tell you. The Browns are going into relegation tier.
I mean, yep. Yep. That... Not
Turns
much
out
really
Deshaun Watson wasn't their only problem. It was one of many. It wasn't their only problem.
Turns out the entire team is bad.
Yeah. And not having Amari Cooper doesn't seem to change matters. I would say normally that it doesn't help, but he didn't help the Browns that much anyhow.
Do you want to know something? I got to there was apparently like an interview or something going around from from Amari Cooper after the Bills won against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And according to him, it's the first time he actually felt good winning a game in years.
Yeah, shockingly, because like, if you imagine his timeline in lineage, what the fuck word was that, brain?
What is
lineage.
Ah, yes, lineage. My favorite.
Lineage.
Sheems dog, when did you get here? This is 2024.
Burger. No, but he started as a cowboy, where in that organization, winning is just seen as something you do.
Mm-hmm.
You win, baby. That's all the Cowboys have been since the fucking Landry era. Is just about, yeah, we're going to win most of our regular season games. Yeah, we're going to waltz into the playoffs in a pretty comfortable position. And we might make it to a Super Bowl, who knows. And then he goes to the Browns, where it's jokingly called a factory of sadness, but legitimately it is an organization that has only known pain and suffering through most of its inception. The original team packed up and moved and went to Baltimore for better shores to fill in the space that the Colts had left when they up and left Baltimore. And then when they came back, it was supposed to be this joyous occasion that football was back in Cleveland, and it was the same Browns that you remember. They haven't drafted a single good quarterback. They haven't had much success other than having players that can make the Pro Bowl.
They had a Baker Mayfield, and then they ran him out of town.
And they ran him out of town, which he is now laughing all the way to the bank, even though I gotta say,
he's not the problem on the Buccaneers.
He's not the problem on the Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers got some problems.
Yep.
But yeah. And now he's on the Bills, which, let's be fair, we're not a good franchise for a lot of their history. But now that they have that success, they kind of know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of in between years before the 4 Super Bowl run and after the 4 Super Bowl run are just things that Lucid doesn't like to think about.
Look, young me had fun in the Ryan Fitzpatrick era, but even I admit it was bad.
It was such bad football. He came from a bad Miami team into a bad Buffalo team.
And then we decided to give him to the Jets. Poor him. Why did we give him to the Jets? He could have at least mentored someone.
Yeah.
But whatever. Long story short.
To be fair, I lived during the Mike Singletary era of the 49ers as well, so I know agony in its truest form. Yeah, but basically his situation has gone from basically franchises where winning was expected to franchising where winning was optional to franchises where winning is everything. And it's actually a joyous behavior to partake in.
Yep. I love this team. I love the players on the team.
I know.
Josh
But
Allen.
back to the Browns. Because we'd rather be talking about a good team that actively has good things to talk about other than just, I'm glad that one player is injured so that he's not gaining game money that he can use to harm people.
Yeah. I didn't expect Jameis Winston to do much in place of Deshaun.
And we were correct.
Yeah. I still expected them. They won a game, or I think technically 2 games, one against the Eagles and one against the Ravens since then. But
no, they only won one of those.
Oh, it was just the Ravens game?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
The Ravens game was before, was technically Jameis playing as well. Because Deshaun Watson was off the team at that point.
I see.
So both wins were with Jameis, but 2-8 is not exactly the record to build confidence off of.
Yep. And
so,
as long as, here's the thing. As long as they got that 260 million brick of cement on their ability to do, on their paybooks, that limits their ability to build their team for a decent while for the foreseeable future. So,
yeah, even draft picks are going to become a bigger question mark of how many can they keep on the squad.
yeah. So they haven't just screwed themselves over the past couple of years. They screwed themselves over
for a long
time, which is the most Browns thing to do.
So the AFC North are one great team, one okay team, and then the other two.
Yeah, at least one of those two has a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Browns will never have a quarterback as long as we both shall live. And the day that it happens is the day they will become injured. As is the Browns' way.
It'll be like 2077 and Fallout will be starting to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cockroaches will be watching NFL TV as the Browns slowly wither.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Alright, is it...
It is. It is time to talk about the AFC South. And Houston.
I'm not. Okay, first. I was desperate last week to not put the Chiefs in Super Bowl favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that blinded me to the real, like, consistency problems that were on the Texans.
Yeah.
Because,
To be fair, neither of us like the Chiefs.
yeah. It's that thing of, this team should be playing so much better than they
Than
are.
7-4.
They should have won that Jets game. They should be 8-3.
Yeah.
But here we are, having to talk about the fact that they allowed the score to be 10-7 against the Cowboys for how long on Monday?
Too long.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think the biggest problem with the Texans is they are banking on a lot of young players to make plays and do things.
It is like one of,
There's
if not the
no
youngest team.
veteran stability. There's no real long-term player who is performing at a high level.
They have one veteran, but Stephon Diggs is currently out, so.
Yeah. And even then, like, Stephon Diggs still plays like a younger player a lot of the time.
Yeah.
At least younger than he already is. You get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Strange to think about the fact that, by all means, they're only like 2 games up to the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they can find some manner of consistency, oh god, do I do this? I want to say they're mid.
Honestly, I don't disagree. I put them in the same tier as I put the Ravens.
It's okay. Because my list is a bit different from yours. I just gotta think here because
Yeah.
it's one of those things of going down the stretch. Do I think the Texans or the Colts are the more possible team to be in the playoffs this year? And it's that case of, we saw a flash, and I mean, we can talk about the Colts, I guess, in some way, since that it's the same division. We saw a flash of what Anthony Richardson can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's that case of, do I trust CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson to lead a team to the playoffs?
Yeah. And it's complicated. I think they're still going to be playoff contenders. I still think they're going to make it to the dance. I just don't think they're getting very far.
I think I have to do the same. It's that thing of, until I see more than one really good game out of Anthony Richardson, I have to go with the Texans. If Anthony Richardson continues to do what he did last week, or on Sunday, then I would highly consider putting the Colts over the Texans, but that will have to be seen till later.
Yep. Speaking of which, the Colts, who are 5-6, a little under 500 at the moment. But them's the breaks in this league.
I am not entirely sure what to think of this team right now, because Anthony Richardson wasn't the answer, so they went to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was the answer, but they wanted to justify Anthony Richardson, so they went back. He decided to tap out of a game, so they went back to Joe Flacco, and he decided to arm punt it back to Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Who now had the best game of his career, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. And it can be said that stirring a little bit of the competitive fire within somebody can change them and make them a better player. But for me, it's just he's been far too inconsistent for me to trust that he's going to make a long, sustained push.
And I guess one thing I have to think about is that was against the New York Jets that they won against last week. So yeah.
And to be fair, we got to that. A lot of teams have done that to the New York Jets.
They're not bad. They're not good enough for the playoffs at the moment, though. They're the definition of mid.
Yeah, I'm putting them in a C tier. I just need a little more consistency from him, and that will only come with time, unfortunately.
You want to know what team is most definitely not mid, though?
One of the teams I would consider for relegation.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the fact there were worse teams.
The Titans don't have a QB. That is quite literally it.
We literally joked while on call that Will Levis, when he did one good play, was reliving his memories at Kentucky.
And then he followed that up by
or
doing
Kansas.
nothing.
Kansas was the school.
Yeah. He then immediately followed that up by doing absolutely nothing.
Yep. Just completely dropping it.
If it wasn't for the absolute thrashing that one other team got in that division this week, I would say I would put them in relegated, but the Titans at least sort of tried to fight against the Vikings. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely put up far more of a fight than other teams in this league. But it's still...
They're like D tier, F tier.
Yeah, I say F tier. There is definitely no hope for this franchise this year. But there's just so many bad teams in the AFC as well.
They got the pieces around them to have a team, I'd say, but or at the very least a working offense, but still, until that, you're not him, Will Levis. I'm sorry.
And there's no one in the backup spot who can back him up out of this.
Yeah. At least they're not the Jaguars.
Yeah, I just put them in relegation tier. I just put them where they belong.
I before I even started talking.
Yes. They're bad.
52-6. I'm gonna
52-6.
I'm gonna turn
And the Lions are a fantastic team. That is not to discount the Lions. That is to show you how absolutely dire the situations that the Jaguars are, because we haven't seen blown out wins this season. We've seen 1 or 2 score wins. We've seen maybe the odd 3 score. 52-6. And yes, Dan Campbell didn't mercy rule and bench the starters to rest them, which a lot of teams would do in that situation. Hell, the Dolphins even did it when they decided to practice touchdown drills against the Broncos last season. It got to the point where I honestly thought another 70 bomb was going to be dropped on a team.
It could have been.
It could have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just terrible.
Doug Peterson is
Done.
going to lose his job.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. Doug Peterson's going to lose his job. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to find another team to be the captain of.
Trent Bulk, their GM should hopefully get fired for this, finally.
Yeah. because we were so glad to get rid of him on the 49ers. I don't know why you snatched him up.
Wait, he was the 49ers GM?
Yep. And during 2016.
Ah, so the bad year.
You know, between the Super Bowls the 49ers went to, before we found Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh boy.
When I attended my first 49ers game in the pouring rain against the Patriots to watch them get blown out in the concourses.
My condolences.
I know.
No one deserves that fate to watch.
I got to see the honor of seeing Blaine Gabbert play football.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That's a name I haven't heard in forever.
You speak the ancient prophecy. Yeah, no. But yeah, the Jaguars are just bad. It's management's fault. Clearly. Because you can see it in how they're playing, you can see it in how they're executing, you can see it in how they're play calling against certain defenses. It's just obviously not the right call, even to someone like me who doesn't really know all the fucking X's and O's. I don't claim to. I can see that there's issues with play calling. So yeah, relegation tier.
Yep, that... Nothing needs to be added to there.
We've delayed long enough.
Chiefs are frauds!
They are such frauds.
They are the fraudiest of frauds. And the only reason that the entire rest of the world refuses to see it is because... I don't fucking know.
No,
Taylor Swift.
No, that's not it. That's not fully it. I fully believe that what the rest of the league is seeing is basically the same thing they saw last year when they won a fucking Super Bowl.
You see that?
Which was, there were parts of the team being completely ineffective and incapable. There were obvious glaring weaknesses, and defenses still could not take advantage of them because of how wild and off the cuff a lot of the play calling was.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Kelce was part of the Busts of the Week TikTok series that I watch, where his fantasy points were a whopping 1.8. He was a first-round pick for a lot of people last year in fantasy drafts because of how consistently high numbers he would get. He got a 1.8.
Even more than that, this is pretty obviously Patrick Mahomes' worst year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy...
He is making such dumb mistakes.
How do you only score one touchdown against the Broncos? How do you have to go to overtime against the injury-riddled Buccaneers?
Mm-hmm.
How can you... Why is the score in the Chiefs and Raiders game 27-20?
Yep. And
you should be blowing some of these teams out of the water. Instead, you're barely surviving by a blocked punt and a horrible fourth down call and a toast lightly in the white of the end zone.
Yes, but because they're still winning and they were Super Bowl championships for the last 2 years now, they're going to still get glazed the same way that they were before. Because even when they were ineffective last season, they still won. So it's hard to not put them in Super Bowl favorites. It really is. Because, once again, this is the same state the team was in last year, where they were the fraudiest of frauds. They were barely winning games. They were losing out to really unfortunate player mistakes. This is the worst I have seen Patrick Mahomes play, and this is one of the worst formerly undefeated teams I have ever seen. However, I still see them making a pretty far run. Lusa doesn't share my opinion on that, though.
You say all that, Sal, by all means, this team should be 5-5 or 6-4. This team should not be in the first place in their division. The Chargers are, like, sure, they're the Chargers, but they're severely better than the Chiefs right now. This team, I have been waiting for that moment where they find where, like the Eagles of last year, like the Steelers of a couple years ago, the crack finally becomes wide enough where a team can reveal them to the rest of the world. And the only reason that rest of the world is ignoring it is because it's the fucking Bills that did it.
Yeah.
If it was the Broncos, if it's the Panthers, the Raiders, literally any other team in the league right now, they'd be saying that the Chiefs are cooked. Instead,
I don't even think that's the case, though. I don't think they'd be saying the Chiefs are cooked. I think they'd come up with something.
Look.
Like, oh, they just undervalued this opponent because they have this important matchup coming next week.
Allow me to say the rest of their schedule for the year. Panthers, that's an obvious win for them. But then after that, Raiders, who they barely won against earlier this year. Chargers, who they barely won against earlier this year. Browns, they should win that. Texans, Steelers, and Broncos, who they barely won against earlier this year. The crack has formed. Teams see the weaknesses. They know that this team is mortal now after what the Bills did.
The problem is they still need to get past the one thing of the Chiefs that is still kind of keeping them in this high enough tier for me to still be considered a playoff team, a high caliber one at that, which is the fact that the Chiefs defense is still performing just well enough to keep people below their score. I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying they're fantastic. They are doing their jobs.
Yeah.
And that is a lot more than you can say about some of the teams on this list already. Because some of them are not doing their jobs. Some of them are just letting things fly and happen. And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
This team is going to make it through the playoffs. They are 9-1. There's no way they aren't going to. I see either a wild card or divisional exit.
Yeah, and no matter what, it's going to be called an upset. You heard it here first. Whatever round they lose in, it's going to be considered an upset because the big narrative going into this year was the Patrick Mahomes three-peat, which has not really happened in this league, even technically during the Brady era, which we love to forget. We love to forget that era.
Indeed we do.
But even Brady, I don't believe got a three-peat. I believe most of the time someone would interrupt him, like a Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers, or a Nick Foles.
The major thing is, if we look at the Chiefs and how bad their offense has currently been, and then we look at the two teams that are specifically currently in Super Bowl favorites, or S tier.
It's night and day.
It's not even that. The Steelers are going to... If they go up against the Steelers, that team in the playoffs, that team is going to tear the Chiefs apart just because their offense is that bad. It doesn't matter what the defense does. There's nothing they can do if Patrick Mahomes continues to throw 2 to 3, like 1 to 2 or even 3 interceptions every single game.
And even if anything happens, Justin Fields has proven himself as a more than capable quarterback as well for this team.
Exactly. if it wasn't for the fact that the Chargers were the Chargers, I'd say that there is a timeline where the Chargers are the divisional leaders and not the Chiefs.
And every pundit would lose their mind.
I want to say that.
I
want to say that. All I can say is that next year.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, how about them Chargers?
For the first time in forever, they have won despite themselves.
Yes.
If that is a sign.
And it's a sign that, shockingly enough, Jim Harbaugh knows what he is doing.
This is a playoff team. I have no reason to not doubt their ability to go to the playoffs.
I have no doubts either. I think they're, as wild as this is, I'm putting them on the same tier as the Chiefs. I'm putting them up an A for mine. Jim Harbaugh knows what he is doing when it comes to making playoff caliber teams. The 8-8 season was a fluke, again, when he was with the 49ers, which was so bad in Trent Baalke's eyes that he decided to fire him and send him off to Michigan. Who then, only a couple years into it, won a natty. Literally the highest echelon championship you can win in college football.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's a really good head coach.
Yeah, and he's really good when he has young, talented quarterbacks who are semi-mobile.
The thing is, like, I wouldn't even say, like, sure, they're maybe not the most exciting team. And
no,
like,
but they do what they need to do.
Exactly, and that's the great thing about that's like the great thing. They're, for the first time in forever, they're not trying to be flashy or whatever. They're just being a good football team. They're winning games that they wouldn't have. That Bengals game from Monday or Sunday, in any other year they lose that game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. Last like 3 seasons, they 100% would have lost that game. Under Brendan Staley.
Yeah.
We'll get to him.
I look forward to these every 3 weeks now.
I know. I know you do. But literally, they were trying so hard to turn Justin Herbert into this, like, overly flashy, overly show-offish quarterback, and that's not who Justin Herbert is. Justin Herbert is what I would like to call the blue-collar quarterback. He gets the job done, he goes home, he does what he needs to go do. He's not flashy, he's not over the top, he's not going to do 60-yard punts with his arm and consistently get it down the field that far. What he is going to do is win you the damn game.
Sounds right to me.
Yep. And a lot of teams in this league would love quarterbacks who just care about winning the damn game. So, A tier it is. What is a Denver?
Over 500 apparently.
Yep, 6-5, which we did not expect.
No, do they currently have a playoff spot?
I don't think so. I think they are just eked out.
Damn. They should have a playoff. They should have a playoff spot, but blocked field goal.
I think technically Baltimore and the Chargers kicked them out.
Damn.
So yeah.
Still, this is the best they've looked since Peyton Manning.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they've put actual full faith and confidence into a quarterback who isn't injury prone, who isn't inconsistent, who you know what you're going to get week in, week out with Bo Nix. And after the team kind of realized that and started actively working around Bo Nix's strengths and weaknesses, you've seen it in droves. This team looked like the same old Broncos at the beginning of the season and have molded themselves into someone who is going to be chomping at the bit of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Also, I wanted to just say they are currently the 7th seed.
Okay, they're currently the 7th seed. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, they are 7th seed.
Did you forget the 7th seed?
I do all the time.
Fair enough.
The playoff format changed years ago, and in my brain, it's still like, what do you mean?
The thing is, like, everyone thought, like, Bo Nix was going to be another bust as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, he really didn't show much in college that would gain them that confidence. He was a solid quarterback, but he wasn't a Bryce Young. He wasn't Drake May. He wasn't an Anthony Richardson. He wasn't really a quarterback where you watched him play and went, oh boy, I need that player on my team.
Mm-hmm.
But he won games. And now that the Broncos have kind of realized what it is that makes Bo Nix tick, he's winning them games. I'd say definitely low playoff tier. I don't think they're really biting any of the higher teams out of their positions, but they're gonna probably make the playoffs this year. I don't see much competition getting in their way of that, other than Indianapolis.
Congratulations, Denver. You finally found him.
Mm-hmm.
Took you long enough.
Now actually surround him with decent fucking players.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, when you had Peyton Manning, you also had Von Miller. Remember that. Okay. Anyway, other than threatening the Denver Broncos, how are the Raiders doing?
Well, let's see. They're still shit.
F tier.
Yep.
All hope is definitely lost for the Raiders. It is obviously not as doomer as even Tennessee, but
I don't quite understand looking at it now, I don't understand what their offseason plan was.
Their offseason plan was they were on a positive trajectory with their new head coach. They were heading towards a more positive direction than the playoff loss that they had a couple years before with their new head coach. And then it kind of turned out that their new head coach isn't really all that great. And even though it was a really good feel-good story, someone from within the organization rising up the ranks, it doesn't really matter to the world of football. It doesn't matter the emotion of a story. It matters your actual ability, qualifications, and possibility. And Anthony Pierce did not have that. So he got fired, and their new head coach is not much better. As much as I felt good about that coaching and personnel decision because they fucked it up the year before, I can't with any confidence say that keeping Anthony Pierce was a good plan for the long run.
It also doesn't help that, like, Gardner Minshew is not a starting quarterback.
No, he wasn't for the Jags. He won't be for the Raiders.
Yeah.
And hell, even the other options they tried were like, why are you going with that one? Like, yes, Jimmy Garoppolo made a Super Bowl. Yes, I have a Jimmy Garoppolo jersey literally staring at me in my closet right now. That man was not going to do anything for your team. He was surrounded by some of the greatest talent that we have seen play the game of football today. That is not the Raiders. The Raiders are a very gritty team. They are a very hungry team. They are a very penalty-prone team that plays a very break-mouth style of football that gets you on that razor's edge between losing 5 yards and gaining 15. That's not how Garoppolo plays. He played for the Pats before, which were a very, like, run-of-the-mill, we're going to succeed because we're the Patriots team. And then it was a 49ers. We're going to win because we have the greatest talent that has seen this turf team. There is no one like that on the Raiders except for Max Crosby, and he plays on the other side of the ball. You are not going to get any success out of Gardner Minshew. You are not going to get any success out of Jimmy Garoppolo. You are not going to get any success out of... Is it Aiden McConnell, or is it, like, does he have a different name?
I don't remember.
I don't either. I call him Shenanigans because he reminds me of Police Academy. He reminds me of that scene from Police Academy where they go, if anyone says Shenanigans one more time, there's going to be disciplinary action. And all the cops go, hey, McConnell, what's that bar you go to all the time with all the goofy shit on the walls? And he goes, oh, Shenanigans? And everyone goes, oh. Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. And that's the backup. That's the person they have to depend on if Minshew goes down.
At the very least, they should be able to rebuild, I think. But
Debatable.
I don't know.
It's going to take a while.
The Raiders seem like one of those teams that are eternally stuck in the void.
Yeah. And there's just no real place for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
We have done it. We have made it through the entire AFC.
Yep.
All right.
Only took us like an hour and a half.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. I need to take a quick bio break. I will be right back.
I might as well do the same.
Okay. Here's a short break for anyone watching to get something to drink, get something to eat. We're going to have to talk about the NFC after this.
Mm-hmm. Look forward to Sal's Week 12 rant about the 49ers.
I forgot I hadn't set that up yet. Shit.
Alright, I'm back. Sal is not yet. It's just me. So, I don't know what to say. I was not expecting to be the only one here when I got back. So, I say how the weather is, but I also know it's late, like, literally everywhere where people are probably watching right now, so, yeah. Fun. Yippee. One sec. One sec. Since I have the time, I might as well. There we go. I think that puts my feeling pretty well. Everything that needed to be said was said. Also, what the heck is my mic picking up on? That's I do not know what my mic is picking up on, but whatever.
I return.
Now,
Hello. I also needed to feed my dog.
yeah, that's important. Doggos are important.
Doggos are very important. All right.
I spent the time between then and now doing something very important on my stream.
Oh no. Oh no.
Nah, I'm not making it entire other tier. I just needed to feel. I just needed to.
Vent some frustrations.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyways, NFC time.
NFC time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do we start?
We start with one of the first big changes.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia.
They're at least a playoff team.
They're at least a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with you there. Anyway, moving on to... No, we got to talk more about them. They're literally the first team on our list.
I guess.
For the NFC.
Thank goodness that... I have one friend who is an Eagles fan.
Mm-hmm.
And any time I try and talk about football and like say X team is a playoff team and not mention the Eagles, they're like, but what about the Eagles? What about the Eagles,
Yeah.
Lisa?
I have an Eagles friend as well, and she is very much like, the Eagles are the greatest team. I don't care about their record.
You have great players. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you had one less Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, imagine if Nick Sirianni's ego didn't get in the way of you winning games. Oops.
It's that unfortunate incident of he reached such a high in like his second year that it's like the opposite effect of what happened to Matt Nagy after the double doink.
Yep. Matt Nagy just showed himself completely differently to Nick Sirianni as well.
Mm-hmm. This team is feeling like any other year this would have been the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just a bird-shaped cowboy.
Yeah. And that's gonna piss them off.
They're going to they're going to like probably win the division or something like that. They're going to talk all this shit.
I'm fully sure they're gonna win their division. Is the thing.
That's fair.
I honestly see a future where the biggest of upsets happen, and someone else takes the division.
Fair enough. But either way, like, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to talk all this shit about how they're going to go and win another Super Bowl, and then they're going to get bounced in the first round, a la Cowboys, just without the 49ers.
They're going to lose round 1 to Atlanta.
Or, like, the Packers again, or something like that.
Or the Packers, yeah.
It's... They got the talent. They've
got the elite talent that got them to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They've got most of the players that got them there. I don't remember off the top of my head any big trades that they got against them. Only towards them. And, like, literally nothing else makes sense as to why they would be having issue, but they're having issue.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be in the low playoff tier. The team I think could possibly upset them for the divisional leadership, though. The Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
No one expected Jaden Daniels to be as good as Jaden Daniels is being.
Honestly, I think if it wasn't for the rib injury, Washington probably would have had a lot better of a chance against the Eagles.
Oh yeah, they'd be neck and neck. Instead of 8-2 and 7-4, it would probably be maybe 8-3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I don't think they're winning one of those games that they lost. I think they are winning the other one, though, with Jaden Daniels.
They're a good team. They're a very young team, I feel.
Yes. And not in the very young team that the Texans are experiencing right now.
Yeah.
Where it's not, they're very young, so it's kind of like you're still growing through the growing pains. But it's very young, and they're very hungry to prove themselves. They are very ready to shake off that retirement home moniker that the Washington Commanders used to be. And I dare not mention his name for obvious jinxing reasons. But this is the best Washington Commanders quarterback I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Feel good, Washington. You finally have a team again.
Yep. I'm not fully putting them in Super Bowl favorites. I am putting them in A tier.
Yeah.
I think they are actually a higher level team than the Eagles currently. And that's even with Saquon trying to make his argument for Offensive Player of the Year. That's with Goddard probably taking that tight end title and running with it. I still think Washington so far has shown to be the better team of the NFC East.
I agree. I just thinking about the fact that I think the Eagles currently have tiebreaker over them is the unfortunate thing.
That is the unfortunate thing, that if they do get neck and neck, it is going to be the Eagles going ahead as leader of the division. However, I still think Washington is the better team.
That is completely fair. Cross fingers that it's Washington and not the Eagles.
Cross fingers, because it would keep the meme going of there is no consistent leader of the NFC East.
Yep.
Speaking of someone who's not going to win the NFC East,
The Cowboys!
the Cowboys. I'm sorry.
Can I relegate them?
F. Full blown F.
You know what? I think our relegations are probably going to split right here. I'm relegating the Cowboys.
You know what? You are more than welcome to.
Yeah.
I can see why you think that. I just think there's another worse team to put in that spot.
That is fair. However, I counter by saying their team is falling apart as much as their stadium is.
Yes, it is. And quite literally saying that a piece of sheet metal had to be removed from their scaffolding to start a game because the NFL just didn't want to leave a piece of the stadium freely floating in a place. So they had to bolt it to the scaffold.
Oh my god.
So the entire game, a essential part of the setup, running, and maintenance of the game, had a piece of random sheet metal strewn and bolted onto it for the entirety of the game. Also, Jerry Jones Stadium blinds his own players, and when asked, hey, do you want to do what you do for literally every concert at your stadium? He went, well, might as well just build a new one then, you fucking pricks.
He's old and doesn't care because he's rich.
He doesn't care. He really does not. And frankly, this is going to sound like, well, if you're a wrestling fan, the pipe bomb promo, but the Cowboys will not change until Jerry Jones is gone.
Yeah.
However that happens. But the Cowboys will not change until Jerry Jones is gone. It has been a infectious rot that Nurgle himself would see as a commendable act that has been happening since the 90s.
That sounds about right.
Literally since the era the Cowboys were good, before both of us were born. I watched a documentary a while back, and it was just talking about Dallas's players getting to basically do whatever they wanted because it kept players happy and kept them on the team. They would take those lower contracts to be more team friendly because they got to do whatever the hell they wanted.
Imagine that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now he has to like throw how much money at players just to keep them there, because I can assure you, if it wasn't for the money, Dak probably would be elsewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
And Dak's the only thing keeping this team together. We
apparently
seen it the last 2 weeks. Dak is,
and even then, Dak is still back to not being that quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
He was doing bad before the injury, and I'm not gonna chalk it up to he was playing injured. So is most of the league at this point.
It's one of those years.
Yeah, it's just the curse has broken, but not in the way Dallas wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
The curse every year was Dallas is going to do well in the regular season and then completely choke the playoffs. Now I don't even think they're going to make them. I don't even think they're going to vie for a playoff spot. I think they're going to vie for a low round pick. You say relegation, I say F tier.
It's basically like F versus F minus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I think we can both agree the Giants are relegated, though, right?
Oh, yeah, God, yeah. Oh, gods, yes.
Free Brian Dable now!
Yep.
Free him, please!
Watching that team play is the worst tragedy that not even Shakespeare could write up.
I'm sorry, Germany. This is the worst we've done to you since like post World War I.
Uh-huh. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad, and nothing will fix it. I think the recent happy news that came out of the organization is that Daniel Jones is going to get benched.
Yeah.
For
Tommy DeVito is.
For Tommy Cutlets.
Mm-hmm.
The most Italian man in existence. Which is the perfect epitome of New York, if you ask me.
Yeah. It's like when Mike White was starting at quarterback for the Jets a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, thank God, we're not gonna get this one.
Yeah. It's the New Jersey teams that pretend that they're New York.
Yeah, instead of the actual only New York team.
Yeah. This is what you get for pretending you're in New York. I had to stop myself. I had to stop myself because I could have.
I don't have the censor sound effect ready.
It's fine. It's fine. I stopped myself.
Oh, my music has stopped. Hold on. Let me.
Unacceptable 5-yard penalty.
Yep, I'm gonna back it up. But yeah, no, the New York Giants are literally one of the worst teams I've seen play this year. We're gonna get to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Who I believe deserves relegation a little bit more than Dallas. But yeah, no, there is absolutely no hope for the New York Giants, and I hope you like playing against the St. Louis Battlehawks or the Guangzhou Tigers.
Woo!
Ni hao.
Fun time.
Now we get to talk about a good team.
Which
How about
one
them Lions?
Lions are. Do we even need to say it? Lions are Super Bowl
No,
favorites.
just put them where they belong.
This is the team to beat.
Yes.
I can hype up the Bills as much as I want to. The Lions are the team to beat, and it's what that Bills Lions game is a possible Super Bowl preview.
Yep.
And I am so fucking excited, and also
I am very excited to see it too. To be fair, I thought that a couple years back that the Ravens 49ers game was going to be a Super Bowl preview. Ha ha.
Mm-hmm.
I was a fool.
It's okay.
I was a fucking fool.
We all make mistakes. But
no, we got the fucking Chiefs instead.
It's that thing of typically there's like another team that I would say like deserves Super Bowl favorites. I don't think a single other team in the NFC.
There is one I'm going to put up there with them, but that's only because it's their only legitimate competition in the NFC at this time.
That's fair. I can only see one possible NFC representative for the Super Bowl, and that is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. It's literally, if you do not trip over your own foot, Dan Campbell, you're going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I freaking love watching this team, and it's one of those things where I'm so happy for Detroit. Like, holy shit.
They deserve it after everything they have suffered through. And funny enough, it also perfectly coincides with a stupid joke that Peyton Manning made where he quote-unquote broke the curse in the end zone of Detroit's home stadium.
Wait, what?
So Peyton had this ESPN series where he traveled the U.S. to talk about football culture. And one of the things he did was he put a bathtub in Detroit's end zone at Ford Field and filled it full of whiskey and said that he basically found a curse-breaking thing online and dunked Roger Goodell in it. A bathtub full of whiskey, herbs, and salt. And the Detroit Lions have been good ever since.
Wow, okay. I mean, he did it.
Peyton Manning can't say he didn't do anything for the Lions. Even though he destroyed them quite a few times over the years.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to even say to that.
It's one of those wild correlation causation things that just obviously, probably, if we think about it purely logically, did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably just Dan Campbell finally got the team in a good enough place to where he needed it to be and finally got the new moniker of the Detroit Lions, which is belts to asses in full effect. It is my favorite thing on social media in its entirety.
I have not heard that, and that is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. On TikTok, there are so many compilations where, like, people will just talk, like, put memes over games. And one of them, every time Detroit does something gritty or good as a play, is just the Cat in the Hat in the bathroom snapping the belt. If you've seen that GIF, you've seen that GIF. But apparently it was a speech that Dan Campbell gave, and he's like, finally we got the team in the place to put belts to asses, and they've just ran with it.
That man is incredible.
That man is a national treasure, and there should be a statue of him in Detroit if they win this Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
There is a Lombardi statue outside of Lambeau Stadium. There is a Tom Landry statue outside of AT&T Stadium. There should be a Dan Campbell statue if he wins this Super Bowl. 100% legendary coach behavior.
I mean, it says something when your quarterback throws like 5 interceptions and yet somehow you still manage to win.
Yeah. So it's literally shown Detroit doesn't need all parts working at full efficiency like a lot of teams do. Like a lot of team successes, like my 49ers, are very contingent on players playing at a high ability.
What's the, like...
Detroit's not one of them.
What are the chances of them being... They're either going into the playoffs 16-1 or 15-2.
High.
Yeah.
It's high. It's going to be a high number.
And the only reason I say 15-2 is because there's the high possibility of them resting their starters.
Yeah.
On, like, week 18. They're going to
I know who they're not losing to.
Who?
Hee hee. My team.
Yeah. Anyway.
They basically have one of the easier strengths to schedules only because of how absolutely talented everyone is. Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, everyone.
Jamal Williams.
Actually, no, Jamal Williams is a Saint.
Wait, really?
Yep.
They have a... One sec. Who am I thinking of that's on their team?
You're thinking of Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
To be fair, I was confused a little at first, and then I remembered 2 years ago he got traded to the Saints in a decision that Dan Campbell did not want to make. And it got them Jahmyr Gibbs, which frankly is the better running back. Proven over the long term.
Yeah,
Which sucks, because I like Jamal Williams as a person.
He is a Saint, huh? Why?
Yep. He's a Saint. Odell Beckham Jr. is a Dolphin, and half the Cowboys are now Browns. No.
Right. Paint the Browns logo over the Cowboys. No one will be able to tell the difference.
No, it's the same team.
Yeah.
It's the same picture. All right. Enough talking good about the Detroit Lions. Let's talk about their possible NFC Championship opponent,
I mean, yeah, like,
the Minnesota Vikings.
even when they try and suck, they still win.
Yep. Sam Darnold has finally found a team where he can actually play a good goddamn game of football. That's not the fucking Jets.
This is the only thing that I think is, like, the NFC Super Bowl favorites, I think, are the only things that have not changed.
Yep.
These are the two best teams in the NFC, and it's like...
And there's no real competition other than one other team, and it's in the same goddamn division.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it every week. I'm just happy that Sam Darnold is no longer haunted.
Yeah, by them ghosts.
Yep. You're free. You're free
You're
of the
free.
Patriots.
You're gonna be fine.
Welcome to Minnesota.
Welcome to the cold, as opposed to the cold.
Mm-hmm.
But Midwestern cold hits different, apparently.
If they were in literally any other division in the NFC, they would be like the top of the.
Yeah.
They would be on the top of their division. It's just like. It's.
There
Yeah.
was a legitimate point a couple seasons back where one division was going to have every spot in the playoffs. Every team in that division was going to go to the playoffs. That was the NFC West. It's now the NFC East if Chicago decides to get their act together.
In Chicago.
Yeah, I know. It's not going to happen. More likely than not, Washington's going to take that slot.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. So it would be real funny if the Eagles just start blowing it and we get the Commanders and the freaking Bears.
Yep. But yeah, I truly think that this is the only legitimate competition to the Lions at this point. Now for someone who's going to make it all so far and fall, Green Bay.
I mean, that basically depends on how many years in a row now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And even the couple years that they've had actually with Jordan Love, this is honestly the best version of a Jordan Love run Packers that I've seen. And god damn it, I hate that they keep fucking stumbling into quarterbacks. I hate it so much because they just need to suck for a while.
Yep. It's unfortunate, but the Packers are good at drafting.
Yeah, the Packers are great at drafting. This has not changed.
It also
Really
helps,
ever.
it also helps that they're the only team in the entire league that actually thinks about, letting their quarterback sit for a year or two before throwing them into the fire.
And under the lineage of another generational quarterback.
Yep.
Because as much as I like to dog on Aaron Rodgers, and as much as Aaron Rodgers deserves it, because that man's ego is honestly a toxic, caustic waste, honestly, it probably made Jordan Love a much better quarterback than half of the rookies coming into the league, half of the sophomores coming into the league, and half of the juniors coming into the league.
Mm-hmm.
It is astounding to see what this Green Bay team has accomplished for themselves. I don't see them beating the Lions or the Vikings, though, in a realistic one-to-one scenario.
Nope.
It's just not going to happen.
The Packers are a good team. It's the unfortunate thing of they're not good enough.
Yeah.
Especially when they pull a Kansas City and barely win against the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Who are trying to get their heads out of their asses.
Yeah. And we can joke as much as we want about, oh, the Packers still own them. The Packers almost lost that game.
Yeah.
Like, if the Bears got that last 2-point conversion, the Packers don't win that game.
Any other time, we're sitting here talking about, you know. Actually, no, I'm still willing to say Caleb Williams is like a good quarterback. I just, you know, yeah.
I just think we'll get to what I think about Caleb Williams in a second, but I think Jordan Love doesn't have to worry about similar things that Caleb Williams does have to. And I think that was the deciding factor in that specific game, but in the long run, it's just Jordan Love has time in that pocket. He looks comfortable back there. I don't see him showing fear, just awareness. And that's the big difference maker.
All he has to do is turn down the amount of interceptions he throws, and they
Golden.
are, yeah. Which, oh no, if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jordan Love's probably going to win a Super Bowl in our lifetime.
As long as the Bills get one first.
We'll see.
Or as long as the Lions get one first.
Yeah. There we go. All right, we got to talk about the Bears now.
Yeah. The middiest of mid.
And the delayed round from earlier can start now. Caleb Williams has to worry about so much more in the pocket. He does not have the same pass protection. He does not have the same run protection. He does not have the same ability to just kind of command the pocket in the ways he likes. And it just comes down to he's inexperienced.
Fun fact, they are on their third offensive coordinator of the year.
Yeah, and that hurts.
Yeah.
A player, shockingly, when coaching regimes change and your expectations are changed multiple times. It's almost like in every other industry, this is a problem.
It's, as someone who's actually worked there, I'm gonna just say it as it is. The overturning of offensive coordinators in Chicago is like working at a Starbucks and seeing the management change every couple months.
Oh yeah, or retail. I'd even go as big as Hollywood. You
Yep.
know those movies that are humongous flops and everyone's like, what the fuck happened? This had such a prestigious director attached to it. Yeah, it had 5 of them.
All
So-
putting their heads for what they want.
For their vision of a script. So things were constantly changing, reshoots were constantly happening, actors were getting tired of this bullshit because actors don't want to deal with all of that. They just want to film their couple takes until they get the best version of it and then go home. So pretty much also a ton of industries I've worked in as well. Yeah, high turnover rate is not fun.
Yeah.
And it's obviously affected this team negatively. This team was looking to be in the top 4 of the NFC. As 4th, mind you, but still top 4 of the NFC. But the revolving door of offensive coordinators has not helped them. And constantly switching them is not going to help them. But you can't rehire the first guy.
You know what I say? If Brian Dable gets fired from the Giants, which I feel is unfortunately going to happen, not because he's a bad head coach, but just because he was put in a horrible situation.
Yeah.
I would say Chicago should pick him up, if not as a head coach, then as an offensive coordinator, because the things he did for Josh Allen, he could very much do for Caleb Williams.
Very much so.
I think that's like way predictions for like way off in the future, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as of now, I'm gonna say they are unfortunately at the same point as like the Dolphins and the Bengals. They are D tier.
They are the only other team in mid besides the Colts for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're not terrible. They obviously have shown that. I think it is just the management changes are negatively affecting them drastically.
Yeah. And, like, it's the unfortunate thing that because of the division that they're in, the entire rest of their schedule is... they're fucks.
Alutier, thank you for the raid. Oh my god.
Yo!
All right, I will hydrate and I will stretch.
Stretching time.
Yep. I am a little quiet compared to Lusa. I am aware. My mic is at full fucking volume and I'm afraid to turn it up another tick. That should be a little bit better. Okay. But yeah, it's... a lot of my settings have changed. How are we doing tonight? I am doing fantastic. We are talking about football. My team is still to be talked about.
Stay tuned, everyone. You're going to see a rant of...
No, you're just gonna see me cry. No.
Oh, yeah. Well...
yeah, that might have to be the play.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
It's kind of just how things are. My mic is... there's no balance.
My mic has a little bit of leeway to go. I can send this thing to the fucking moon.
Yeah.
The problem is, I have this equalized to not need to. So... the fact that I have to change settings is honestly odd as shit. Let's remember my commands.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, gods, yes. It has. There we go. Vampire Hunter D was the game we were playing. I hope you enjoyed it.
How do Twitch work? It feels like it's falling apart like the...
oh, that's not even the official Twitch one. That's my unofficial one that I set up 4 years ago. Oh my goodness. Next month.
Woo!
I know, but I forgot if it was SO or shout out. Don't at me.
4 years, a doggo boy.
Pretty much. End of next month, yeah. Alright. We are here talking about the American football and ranking them as two queer people who know far too much about football.
Yep. Yep.
I think is the shortest and sweetest way we can put that.
Congratulations, you found us. The football-loving queers.
Yep. It's fun. It's more action-oriented. Please, one survival homer formula, even if one particular entry is rough. Oof. I'm sorry to hear that, Alu. You'll get him next time.
I hear particularly rough enemy. The first thing I think of is the Regenerators from RE4 Remake.
Don't remind me. I've been playing that on my Steam Deck a little bit, and...
Hey, you want to hit a target the size of like a walnut? Except way smaller?
No, but that's when I have time to game most of the time, is when I'm falling asleep. Which is why Balatro has sadly and slowly taken over my entire existence. Mm-hmm. Anyway, American football. Atlanta.
Boy, if this was any other division, this team would not have a playoff spot.
Yep. But here we are, a 6-5 team is leading the division in the NFC South. Yet again.
The NFC South is just... it can't be good. It cannot be good.
It refuses.
And you want to know the unfortunate thing about that?
Mm-hmm.
The Saints still have a legitimate shot at a playoff spot.
I'm aware. And it's the saddest fact. We'll get to the Saints in a second, though. But yeah, short and sweet, the Falcons are B tier. They are the best of the NFC South. True and true. I love what Kirk Cousins has done to revitalize this team. I just can't see them making it very far.
Yeah.
Oh. It's less of a regenerator type enemy, but more an enemy that can block and parry your sword swings outside of a select wind. Oh no, it's more like Heimdall in God of War Ragnarok, or God of War.
Or the, what's it called from Doom Eternal, the Marauder?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna parry everything unless you get the specific stagger window.
Pretty much.
Gross. Hate those enemies, my entire soul.
By all technicality, I should put the Falcons in playoff teams, but I'm gonna put them in mid because I don't think any team in this division deserves a place in playoff.
I know.
Tier.
They are in B for the sheer fact they're going to be the ones to make it out of the NFC South as a playoff team.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do so in a kind and nice manner. They're going to do so in a very annoying manner.
A team that...
To them.
Yeah. By all means, a team that, like... If they weren't as injured to hell and back as they are, I'd say the Buccaneers would have a chance. And that's the unfortunate thing. It's just the Buccaneers are injured to hell and back.
Yeah. Which is why they're going to go into D tier to quickly sync that all up.
Yeah. I'm putting them in mid as well.
Yep. They're not quite all hope is lost. Baker Mayfield is a damn good quarterback. Their team is just injured to hell and back, and I don't think they're going to make any sort of push this season. Let's just rapid fire through the rest of this division.
Yeah.
Because, oh god, the more I have to talk about them, the more pain it will cause my memory. Saints.
They have a
F-tier.
Taysom Hill. They have a Taysom Hill, a Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and an Alvin Kamara. Somehow they are still in the hunt.
And a Derek Carr who is playing well above his years.
They got blessed by the Pope, and for some reason now they're winning games.
Barely.
Yeah, but...
I think their record is actively worse since the Pope blessed them.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's actively worse. I think they
I thought it was
are winning
2-1.
games now. No, it's worse than that.
Okay.
It's 1-2.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it's bad. And the Panthers are getting relegated on my chart. It's going to be, no, all hope is lost, I bet, for Lusa.
Yep, the only reason it's not relegated is because they threw the Cowboys in there.
Yep. I think the Panthers deserve it a little bit more, and I will argue why. The Panthers didn't have expectation. The Cowboys are hanging on by their expectations of what their team could be. The Panthers really didn't have that, and are just proving that point. Andy Dalton has not done a damn thing to really help them. Bryce Young has really not done much to help them. The fact they're 3-7 is more of a miracle than damn near anything. Because it should be lower.
Mm-hmm.
It should be 2-8.
That is completely fair. The only reason I can't is it's a case of what have you done for me recently, and it's the fact that the Panthers have won more games recently than the Cowboys.
They have.
Yeah. And they've also beaten one of the teams in relegation, so...
Yep, but that's not hard to beat the Giants. Every other team has basically made them a punching bag except for the joke and the other joke.
Yeah.
So putting Carolina in relegation tier, frankly, is just kind of a common blessing at this point for them.
They still have a chance, is the horrible part.
I know, because the NFC South is wide the fuck open.
Yeah.
But basically, to sum it up, the Falcons are going to win the division. Tampa Bay is probably going to drop to third place. New Orleans still has a shot, doesn't deserve it, and the Panthers are dog water and have been for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now we move to the NFC West, where actually interesting things are happening.
Yep. Kyler Murray is winning games.
I put this team in F.
I did the same.
They're probably closer to B.
I have no... I have no choice but to put them in playoff here because
Yeah.
the entire rest of the division is too cardiac.
Yeah, I will get to the last three.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cardinals are honestly the better team coming out of the NFC West at the moment. They don't really have a lot of excuses. Although Kyler Murray did trigger a long-ass rant about Kyler Murray's just refusal to let the line know, hey, there's a guy coming for me, and I can see it before the snap even happens. But other than that, like, the Cardinals are the most complete team out of the NFC West, and that is not a glowing recommendation to the Cardinals. That's a glowing indictment of the rest of the NFC West.
There were like 4 good teams in the NFC.
They would be where New Orleans is on any other division.
Yeah.
Hell, they'd be with the Bears in the NFC North. They would be near the bottom of every other division. And yet here they stay. As probably the team that's going to represent in the playoffs and lose in the wild card.
Yep.
How are the Rams second place?
Shenanigans.
Yeah, because honestly, Matthew Stafford hasn't shown me much.
More enough, I guess.
It's enough, and Puka Nacua coming back is definitely helping matters.
They
Doesn't take them
Yeah.
above C tier for me.
they're mid. I don't think they have the capability of
Improving.
Yeah. Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford isn't bad. It's just that unfortunate case of this team's not good enough.
Yeah. They traded a lot of the heart and soul of the team when they won that Super Bowl because they had to build up the super team.
Yep.
So now you get to enjoy what happens after the super teams in most leagues. The NBA doesn't have this problem, obviously. But the NFL definitely fucking does. And you're seeing it kind of wither away with the Saints as well, where that shiny patina is now starting to green. And show its age. The patina grew a lot faster on the Rams than it did the Chiefs. But it's still showing.
Hmm.
And it's nothing that the Rams can really fix at this point. They have their roster. Trade deadline's over. There's not going to be people they can rely on to push the team past what it is.
They have the building blocks for a future team. It's going to take a little bit to get there.
Yes, and I think by the time that happens, Matthew Stafford is going to be considering retirement.
Yeah.
It's time to start having that discussion, as tough as it is, because Matthew Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time, who finally got the ring that he deserved. I bet not with the team he deserved it with, but it's time to start talking about Twilight eras. He's one of the last remaining stalwarts of that era. Other than Russell, who shockingly is still playing at an extremely high level. But now we get to talk
Yeah.
about the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I hate them
I'm aware.
because most weeks they look completely ineffective, completely run-of-the-mill,
Yeah.
and just mid. The absolute definition of mid. And then they go against my 49ers and decide to score 2 touchdowns back to fucking back and win. They just decide to do that. A quirky little fun little thing to do. And I get that they hate us too. I'm well aware of that fact. But god damn it, What are you, Geno Smith? You were a Jet. I'm well aware that Jets quarterbacks have this kind of effect. Hell, Sam Darnold even had a little bit of it with the Vikings where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's just week in and week out, I can't tell what the Seattle team is.
It's incredibly hard to say because, like, it feels like they could be doing better than they are, and yet at the same time,
some of their players are already playing at the absolute peak proficiency that I think I've seen them play at.
Yeah.
AKA DK Metcalf, AKA Geno Smith, AKA their entire running core.
Yep, it's just they are not allowed to have an easy game ever.
No. And to be fair, the game that I'm talking about against the 49ers that happened on Sunday was not an easy game for them either. It literally took the best player of the 49ers to be out for that to happen. The way that it did. But that's an excuse that you can hear week in and week out throughout this league. So, are the Seahawks a B tier who are going to possibly surpass the Rams to fight for that Cardinals playoff spot? Or are they going to be a team that's going to be hugging that basement with the 49ers?
I think the Rams have a little bit more of a chance just because it feels like the Rams are trying a bit more, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm going to put them in C.
This entire division, somehow it's even more obviously mid than the NFC South.
Yeah. And it's not due to the same reasons as the NFC South either. It's not that, oh, all these teams are bad, so therefore one of them has to go. It's all these teams are so incredibly mid that they're basically going to be chomping at the bit to get a single win over their opponent. And that's going to propel them to the playoffs. Because literally, the records for the 4 teams in the NFC West, 6-4, 5-5, 5-5, 5-5.
The likelihood of a team from the NFC West reaching the playoffs and being like 9-8 or something like that are pretty high.
Literally, it's the difference of one team gets a win, and that's going to completely change the way we order this next time.
Yeah. Will the 49ers ever get that one?
We can only hope that something changes, but frankly, I'm going to start this with the funny thing that I realized. Lusa got to talk about her team first.
Yes.
Now I get to talk about mine last. And I'm going to start this conversation by just going, there we go.
Jesus.
Yeah. Nick Bosa's out for most likely the rest of the year. Deebo Samuel is still playing well, but not enough. Brandon Ayuk is still out for the rest of the year. Every time our kicker goes out, I have heart palpitations that are recognized by my watch. Because I can't consistently expect him to kick a field goal. Which we should have expected from a man named Moody, but frankly, I don't know how they didn't catch that. The defense has just completely forgotten how to do their fucking job. As evidenced by the fact that one player went down and the Seahawks got to score 2 touchdowns in a row. For free, basically. They had first yards pretty fucking easily. They were not getting third downs at all, really. It was just not competition. Really, at the end of that game. They were letting Geno Smith run and play the ball however he wanted to. And all hope is truly lost for the 49ers for the rest of the season. I see them winning 2 games maximum. I see them fully winning 7 games this year and losing 10. Which is sad. Is it 7-10? Yeah, it's 7-10. They're 17 games.
Yep.
And that's just going to be the fate of the 49ers this year. And I can't... Well, I can point a finger at what it is. It's the defense deciding to stop remembering how to play the game of football. And it's also the fact that our special teams cannot be relied upon for anything.
Who's your defensive coordinator again?
Oh, yeah. Brendan Staley is the special teams coordinator. And our defensive coordinator is a guy. I don't think he's even high up there in the terms of guys.
I didn't realize Brandon Staley was the special teams.
I believe so. Let me double check that info.
Because I thought Brandon Staley was the defensive coordinator.
Okay. Our head coach, obviously Kyle Shanahan. Chris Forster is the run game coordinator. Sorry, Brian Schneider is the special teams coordinator.
Ah.
And Nick Sorensen is the defensive coordinator.
Okay, so Brandon Staley is not. Got it. Got it.
No, he is on the team. I just need to remember where the fuck he slots in, because I remember... Oh, yeah, assistant head coach and defense.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh. That's why I thought he was our defensive coordinator. Or at least on that side of the ball.
Kevin Stefanski, you already have enough trouble winning games. Why do you do this to yourself?
Yeah. I will enjoy the sports ball, Alu. Please get some good rest. But yeah, no. All hope is lost for the 49ers. I do not see a future in which they are winning more than 2 games for the rest of the season. And prepare for that Lions game, is all I'm going to say. Prepare for that Lions game. It's going to be a fucking massacre the day before New Year's Eve. Not to the same level as the Jags. I don't think it's going to be that bad. It's going to be bad.
I'll make sure to grab some whiskey or something for you.
I appreciate it. I will need it.
I am... Frick, I was fully expecting your team to be good this year, like...
Everyone was.
Yeah.
There was literally no sign that the team was going to have any form of imminent collapse after going to a Super Bowl. None of the players we traded were really high-impact players. And all the players we gained seemed like really good, competent guys, especially because our team has been drafting incredibly fucking well. I mean, Brock Purdy was a diamond in the rough that came out of the fucking irrelevant pick, which you've probably heard 10,000 fucking times. And Brock Purdy is not the problem. Brock Purdy is 100% not the fucking problem. He plays out of his mind every fucking week. It is the defense letting us down yet again. And something needs to change there. I don't know what. It either has to be a massive changing in how the defense is coached, or even, fuck it, bring back Robert Saleh as our defensive coordinator. I will take it. That was one of the best areas of 49ers defense, was when Robert Saleh was the defensive coordinator.
I mean, even when he was head coach of the Jets, like, until he got fired, that was a bright spot for them.
Yeah, why do you think Sauce Gardner was so highly respected and rated to win Rookie of the Year? It's because Robert Saleh knows how to put forth a good defense. The
Yeah.
defense was never the Jets' issue. It was always offensive issues that they were trying to patchwork. And he just happened to pick the wrong egotistical bastard to put in basic charge of the team. Because you cannot tell me that Aaron Rodgers had no clue that Robert Saleh was going to get fired. I do not believe you. He 100% had something to do with that decision. And unfortunately, the 49ers don't have that kind of scapegoat where you can say, oh, one player's ego or one player's ambitions. Because Brock Purdy isn't really that guy. And frankly, the only problem I truly have with a lot of the offensive players is just the fact that one of them is still allowed on the plane. Bell, count your days. But other than that, it's really proves that defenses are the most important part of a team. And the 49ers do not have a good one.
Yeah.
If I were to give my team advice, it would be literally look to any of the teams above you and yank their defensive players. Basically, keep Bosa, as much as I do not like him as a person, I do like him as a player. I think he is absolutely detestable of a person, but unfortunately he wears my home team's jersey, so I support him in that alone.
My condolences there.
I know.
Yeah.
And Fred Warner are literally the only bright spots on defense at the moment. Everyone else could probably be turned for profitable return. Hell, even getting TJ Watt in exchange for Nick Bosa, I would even hazard that trade. Although we have kind of seen what happens with the 49ers when Nick Bosa isn't on the team.
Kind of the same thing that happened to the Steelers when TJ Watt's not on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's... Damn.
Yeah, no, it's going to end on a real bad note because the 49ers just do not have anything to look forward to in the future. Other than possibly not having double-digit losses.
That is... All I can do is just hug.
Yeah. So this is the list.
Yeah.
Shockingly, much more filled out than I thought it would be.
Ours were pretty one-to-one until we got to the NFC.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just, as much as I hate the Cowboys, I can't relegate them.
That's fair. This wasn't out of hatred. I actually had to sit there and think about before stream if they were worse than the Panthers or not.
Yeah, I still think the Panthers are slightly worse, but I can see why Dallas could be slotted in there. Other teams that could definitely be going up or down that I can see. Tennessee could easily go down into relegation, but they'd be fighting really hard for that spot. Patriots, I don't see really fighting for that spot because they have bright spots on their team.
They could go Kansas D tier, I guess.
Yeah. Kansas City, I could see going back up and fighting for that Super Bowl spot if anything major happens to the Steelers or the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see Washington or Green Bay moving up. But yeah, that's a list.
I guess that's the list.
We will see how this turns out in 3 weeks' time.
Yep. And look at it and be like, oh boy, what did we get wrong? How did we get this wrong?
Of any team I think of, oh boy, how did we get this wrong? I'm going to go with... Actually, none of them. I can't really see any of them really shifting majorly.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't think the Cardinals would be at the top of your division, so.
No, but that division's volatile as shit anyhow.
Yep.
So
We're gonna
honestly,
see
I think the only one that can move up or down is the Eagles
That's fair.
and the Seahawks. That just fully depends on them.
That's completely fair.
Oh my goodness! I just read again on the coaching list. Our offensive quality control is named Deuce.
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 Oh.
Our team is literally shit. Who do you want to raid, Lusa?
Okay. Let me think here.
Because I think I picked last time.
Yeah, let me think here. Who is currently live for me to raid?
Oh god, I still haven't got this set up. Shit. Let's go back.
They're raiding. Or they're playing. In that, we are going to raid a good friend of mine, Skelter. What's that?
Okay.
That's how it's spelled for you.
Yep. Let me just throw that into the old chat box.
I shall do the same. They are currently playing Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Okay, I need to see this. This sounds like the perfect blend of disasters.
Yeah, it is.
That sounds brilliant. All right.
Another friend of mine, Lone, suggested that all of us get the game, so we did, and yeah.
Oh no.
I was supposed to stream it on Wednesday.
Yeah, life happens that way though.
No, it was simply because I was told that the game was really buggy. It turns out that the person that was telling me that just forgot to upgrade their graphics driver.
Yep.
But anyway. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you all for sticking around with us for so long and hearing our opinions on the football. We will be coming back in about 3 weeks' time, probably same day, as I'm trying to stop conflicting with my D&D sessions for my friend's sake.
Yep, that sounds good.
All right.
All right. See y'all then.
See y'all then. Next time. Hopefully I will be streaming soon. Lusa, you got any plans you want to talk about?
Age of Empires 2 happening tomorrow. If everything stays according to plans, Stalker is going to be on Saturday. We'll see.
All right. See you then.
See ya.